All right, so good afternoon. Our announcements today, remember your hydrology test is next week on Tuesday. You also have no school on Monday, and your study guides are due on Monday as well. No school on Wednesday, I'm sorry. Your study guides are due on Monday, but they are due about 10 minutes after class starts. So at 1:20, no, 1:35, it will lock. It will not unlock because I'm going to give you the answers to the study guide at that time. So make sure that you have it done and you have it submitted. Even if it's not completely done and you got it like halfway done, I suggest you go ahead, you turn it in so you can get some points because some points are better than no points. That'll happen. I'll also remind you when you log in on your login screen where it has the instructions when you guys are after I let you in the waiting room to remind you to go in and submit that assignment just in case you forgot because I know it's a Monday and we forget stuff sometimes, which is okay. Um, Go ahead and answer your bellwork question in the chat box. In the U.S., which is responsible for ensuring the safety of the country's drinking water? Is it the EPA, the CDC, NOAA, or the FDA? Which one? I'm seeing a lot of A's pop up in the chat, which is exactly correct. It is the EPA. Good job. It is the EPA. Environmental Protection Agency. All right, question number 2. Which will best show lakes, rivers, and streams are healthy? Which one will show that they are healthy? A, large amounts of algae, B, large amounts of nitrates, C, large amounts of decomposers, or D, large amounts of dissolved oxygen. It's a mouthful. Type your answers in the chat. What do you think? Seeing a bunch of D's pop up, which is a good thing. Large amounts of dissolved oxygen is going to show that it is healthy. Large amounts of dissolved oxygen. All right, so today we are going to do our water quality lab. Um, what you're going to do, you're going to go to the assignment today in Canvas. You're going to click the water quality lab and make a copy of it. We're going to kind of go through what it's like to test the samples. I'm also going to show you how to test it in the water treatment plant. And then there are some reflection questions to answer once you are finished. You are going to turn it into Canvas once you are completely done with it, and you will be good to go. Now, from modules, let me show you this. The hydrology study guide, this is where you're going to turn in that study guide once you are finished with it. This is the assignment you turn it into. Like I said, Tuesday you do have your test, and so it is already loaded and ready for you. It will unlock for you on Tuesday during your class time. Um, we're going to go here today to the testing water quality. That's what we're working on today. And once you click this link, it's going to open, make a copy of your Google Doc for you, and it will look like this. So the first step is going to be to actually click this link and get access to the virtual lab. You may have to click to enable your Adobe so that way you can see it. And this is what it will look like. So step 1, there are a few steps that we have to follow. It says use the box on the left of your screen to identify at least 2 facts about each of the following contaminants. This is the box that it is talking about, and it will tell you information about all of the contaminants. So we have acidity, which we know deals with the pH. We have bacteria, you have metals, and you have nitrates and pesticides. So those are the options. They're right there. You were going to put your 2 facts right here next to your stars. Step 2 is going to involve you clicking the blue tabs at the bottom and finding out how exactly you treat the water to remove these contaminants from it. So the blue tabs are down here. If we're trying to get rid of the acidity says that we have to add sodium hydroxide to the water in order to raise the pH levels. So that is what you would put in this space right here. You add sodium nitrate. Is it? Yeah, hydroxide. I'm sorry, sodium hydroxide to the water is what you would do to raise the levels. All right, step 3. This is the part that people get confused on. Not exactly sure why they get confused, but they do. Um, what you do is you go, it tells us to click the arrows. It's a box that looks like this. You click the arrows to go back and forth to change your sample. You're going to look at the results and you are going to compare them to the safe range to find out if they are contaminated or not. So if you look at we'll do the city one together. If I wanted to change samples, all I have to do is click these arrows and it will change my samples for me. So first thing I need to do is test my water. These are the safe ranges for all of our water. All of the water, it is fresh water, so this is the same for all of them. And then we have our results, which are right here. So in our document, the safe range is already labeled for us, and so we don't have to type anything in for that. So if we are looking at the city water sample, we're going to do the first one semi together. All you have to do is copy the information from the results to the box. So as we copy these, we're going to kind of analyze them and look at them. And I want you to respond in the chat when I ask you questions about our water sample. So for the first one, we're looking at the pH or the acidity. The results were a 4. This is the safe range. Is our water contaminated or considered acidic? Answer in the chat. Yes, correct. It is contaminated and it is considered acidic because this 4 is outside of our normal safe range. All right, so with our metals, are our metals outside of this range or are they fine? Right, they're fine. Good job. All right, so next we have bacteria. Our normal is 0. Is this in our normal range? No, it is not. So it is also contaminated by bacteria. Herbicides and pesticides, is this number within the normal range? Yes, it is. And our nitrate level within our normal range? Yes. All right. So what we would do is we're going to take these results and we are going to copy them over here. So we have a 4 for acidity. We had that 0.006 for our metals. For our bacteria, we had 13 out of 100. So we're going to type 13 out of 100. I don't know why it's not typing today. Oh, there it goes. For our pesticides and herbicides, 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros and a 1. 0.1234 and a 1 milligrams per liter. And then nitrates levels, we had 0.8 milligrams per liter. All right. We already said that our sample size was contaminated, so I type a yes there. And we said that bacteria and pH were the reasons why it was contaminated. So we typed that right there. So city is already done for us. We did it together. So make sure you have that information there. All right. So the next step is going to be to actually go and test our water. So if we go to the treatment plant, it's going to actually ask us to treat our water. So we said that it had a low pH, which means it's acidic. So we click here and it tells us that we have to add sodium hydroxide. And then if I go to bacteria, bacteria tells me that we have to add chlorine. So if you hover over them, they'll tell you exactly what they are. It'll tell you. So it said we had to add chlorine and that we had to add sodium hydroxide. So then I can test it by clicking the lever, but it tells me it's still unsafe. So that's definitely a problem. What's wrong? How do we fix it? Right. Oh no. How do we fix it? Let's look at it. For acidity, we have to kind of make sure that we're reading good. It says water with pH levels lower than 7 is acidic water. Sodium hydroxide should be added to acidic water to raise the pH. And we did. We added our sodium hydroxide. All right, so bacteria was the other one. It says when coliform bacteria are present in drinking water, the water must be chlorinated. Chlorine should be added at the beginning and the end of the treatment process. Did we do that? No, we didn't. I just put it in at the beginning. So I have to add chlorine in the beginning. I have to add the sodium hydroxide, and then I have to put chlorine again in at the end. Now let's test it. See, now our water is safe. And so it will give you a green sign and let you know that it is safe. So then you can either choose to fill out all of your chart at one time. So that way you know what needs to be contaminated, or so you know how to treat what you need to treat, or you can choose to do it all together. So like how we did all of the city and then we tested it to see what was right. You could choose to do it that way. As you click through, it'll tell you what you have tested. You haven't tested these versus when you get to this one, it won't say untested on it. So you can choose to test them all at the same time if you want to, or you can go back and forth like we did. In order to get back to lab, you just click return to lab and it'll take you to your next set. You have different options that you can do. We already did city, but notice we haven't done well yet, so the results aren't quite there. So it'll let you know which ones you have done and which ones you haven't done by seeing the differences between the two. And that's what you do for your virtual lab. After you have completed, there are some reflection questions at the bottom, and then you submit the assignment to Canvas, and you are done with your water testing lab. If you finish early, I highly suggest that you make sure that that study guide is taken care of and that it's done, so that way you can submit it and get your credit for it. Does anybody have questions about what we are doing today? If you're watching this video and you have questions about anything that we're doing or anything with this lab or our test or anything like that next week, go ahead and send me a message in my Canvas inbox and I will answer it there.